Hi, everyone. Before we dive into today's episode, I wanted to let you know that we'll be discussing topics related to depression and mental health, and also suicide. If you might find this content sensitive or triggering, please consider whether you'd like to continue listening or watching. Remember, it's important to take care of yourself.
The problems arise when you start to hold on to emotions or you want to suppress them, push them away. And this also is acceptance. So acceptance of I am who I am, or the acceptance of the past, of everything that has made me being this person that I am today, and acceptance of emotions that come and go, and let them come and go.
Hi and welcome to Lead Well.
Hello to another episode of Lead Well, the podcast, how to lead yourself and others. And today I have a really fascinating guest, and that is Maxi Fetch. Hi, Maxi.
Hi, Christina. Nice to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is that we actually don't know each other that well. And by accident, I came across a post from you on LinkedIn, and I was caught by the very first line. It said psychiatry, and then what? And then you got me. And then I read the word joie de vivre. Like, this is the joy of being. And then last thing you said is resuscitation is needed also for the soul. And the picture I saw was you with literally your hair standing up because you were in the wind, I think, in the mountains, and you were smiling all over. And I was like, wow, who is this person? I need to get to know her. I need to talk to her. This sounds so interesting. So thank you so much for coming to this show.
Thanks again for the invitation. I feel very honored.
Cool. And that the great thing also was because the post was in German, and I'm like, okay, does she speak English? And yes, she's fluent in English. That's another coincidence. And now I cannot say a lot about you because actually I do not know a lot about you.
We don't know each other.
I know that you are a really interesting person and personality. And so please share your story with us, because I'm sure that a lot of our listeners will be really thrilled to know more about you.
Right. Well, the story was all about, as you said, the headline mentioned psychiatry and then what. So no secret being told when I'm saying I was talking a lot about my mental state, my psychological disease, or whatever you want to label it. And it's taken me a long time to find my self-perception and my self-definition as in what part of the maxi cake does the disease get, or am I the disease? There have been times I thought, this is what I am. I am sick. I'm not like the rest of the world. I'm disabled in a certain way. I don't know how to live life properly. I'm just invalid in a way in our society. I'm just inappropriate. I can't deliver. I'm not a good mother. This is something that really got me for a long, long time. I have 2 kids. And I thought, well, how can I take responsibility for other people's lives? My kids, if I have responsibility for my own life. So today I can say I'm very, very peaceful inside. And this is, I think, what made me go this step to close the loop, where the 2 of us met virtually now. How come that I speak openly and publicly, and even in a professional context, not only in a private context? So to cut a long story short, basically what I want to say is that when you ask me, who are you? Tell me about you. And the hook was where we met, me publicly speaking about my psychological disease. I can tell you that, yes, this is me, but it doesn't define me. And this makes me very, very, and it's a state that I've only reached recently. And this again was the reason, or the trigger point for actually starting speaking up I don't deny it. There's also been times where I defined myself through the illness, and there have been plenty of times where I rejected the illness completely and said, I don't want this. Why me? I go away. Can I not have diabetes or anything like proper? And then Dr. Zenner, that already you already hosted and had as a guest, was my doctor that treated me in times of clinical therapy, and he actually took away that burden of shame by saying, see, there's other people that need medication to get their systems running correctly inside the body for regulating the blood sugar, like diabetes. So in your body, there's something else going slightly wrong, and it does affect your affections. It does affect your moods. And there's also medication for this. We can do something about it. It's not your fault. It's not that you're not capable to live your life.
Wow. Wow. So that was a big turning point, I guess, in your story then.
Absolutely. And this is really what's laid the red carpet for what's happening on LinkedIn right now, which I'm still standing there, like at the side of the seashore, looking at the waves bashing in front of me. I'm like, what is going on here? There's like, I don't know, 10,000, 15,000 people reading my stories. Like you've seen one, it's been the third, I think, in a row, or the fourth even, where I started to speak up and say, hey, this is me. By the way, me too, I'm affected by mental disorder or disease. And it's incredible. The echo is incredible. There's so many positive feedback, so many people speaking up or just uttering their gratitude, feeling help, even inspiration, people approaching me with their personal stories, or like you coming up saying, hey, listen, I would like to talk to you, and I would like other people to be able to join in and hear about your story. And there's magic. It sounds a bit strange maybe, but it's magical what's happening right now. I feel very, very reinforced and very inspired and very supported, and as if just things are coming into a place that now I feel like, well, this is actually what this whole shit, sorry for the expression, but it wasn't great times I endured. Honestly, they weren't, spoken honestly. And this might be what this has all been good for as well. Not as the only reason of being, but
yeah. So if I may, can I ask you, what was the point in time where you actually decided that you can come out with your story?
what made me speak up, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I wasn't clear on that before. I made too many words. I tend to sometimes. What I tried to say was that this inner peace with my disease being a part of me was not defining me as Maxi. I'm not 100% this mental disease. It's a part of me. By finding this acceptance towards disease and integrating it as a part of me, this piece laid the red carpet, as I said, for finding the courage. It does take courage, and also finding the confidence to show up and say, look, this is me. And this is the main trigger, I think, the main accelerator for speaking up. And combined with, I have to admit, there have been a good few people around me recently that have all spoken the same language, all given the same, fingertip, go that direction. There's been many years people telling me I write an awful lot and I work professionally with words. And since long time that I look back, people keep telling me, oh, that you are meant to write. You're meant to tell stories. You're meant to go out in the world. I said, well, what have I to tell? Where should I go? Who wants to listen? And I have the impression that with this topic of mental health and my personal story, I might have found my subject.
Yeah, it seems so, because 11 or 15,000 people reading your posts on LinkedIn, that's something. So when we first talked, you said that there was a particular magical moment or that there is a miracle that happened in your life.
Oh, you mean
And
the turning point in
was
overcoming my disease? Well, what I focused now on the fact what made me kind of
coming out, yeah.
raise
So,
my hand and say, well,
mhm.
yeah, coming out. And now the other magic turning point in overcoming my disease was, it's hard to grasp because I would like to tell the story the other way around, that where I was and escaped from, or I was able to overcome a certain point. I cannot actually tell you what was the miracle, what made triggered the change. I can only say that I was for sure, I was at the most bottom point in my life, being pregnant with my second child, my son, in one of the, if not the deepest depression I've ever encountered. And as close to giving up as standing near the rail tracks and really looking up the timetable, which fast train is passing next. It was severe enough, not only in myself, also people around me were very worried, and also doctors really being afraid of how much freedom am I allowed to leave the house, the hospital. And I was as far as like knowing, being a mother of my daughter already for 14 years at that same moment in time, pregnant with my son. I knew about the meaning of parenthood. I knew about the responsibility it takes. And I was there, knew what was depression all about. And this depression in the pregnancy just hit me a million times more. And I didn't see an end to it, right? I was in that depression for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it became months. And the pregnancy didn't stop. Like, I couldn't say, oh, I'll postpone this to later. The baby was growing. And so approached this D-Day of, oh, this is the date. I need to be full, like 100% there, and need to be looking after this completely dependent little baby. And this freaked me out. I cannot do that. I don't see how I should be able to do that. If I cannot get up out of the bed, taking a shower, it takes me the whole day to motivate myself to do that. How will I breastfeed and change nappies and whatever it needs to do for this little bundle? So, which led me to the decision, and we even got medical certification, that I was way beyond the point where you're allowed to stop a pregnancy and abort. And I had a medical education, if you want. The medical part in the hospital of how this would all be done and what is needed, and you go there first, you get the medication, you do this, it felt very, it felt bad. I felt like, what am I doing? I cannot just get rid of another human being just because I can't cope, and it even made things worse for a moment. And I cannot tell you, Christina, what happened. I can only tell you, within days, there was a smile on my face, and things were lifted. The grey, all this dark fog was just slowly moving up from just one week to another, maybe over a weekend, and hope was back.
Wow.
And this is the reason why, and my son obviously was born. I told you I'm a mother of 2 kids. My son was born, and he's going to turn 2 this year on Christmas, and I'm very grateful to have him. And what we gave him the name Merlin, because he was a little magician in that moment.
Wow, that's so emotional.
Even now outside my womb, he is a little magician. He does enchant people a lot, and he's starting to be aware of it.
Wow, this is great. That's so emotional because there is hope, as you said. That was probably the darkest moment of your entire life
So far,
of everyone's life. Would that be a darker moment? But even there, you don't know how, and it just happened, and things got better and lighter, and look at where you are right now, which is wonderful. That's so great. That's so great. Yeah, and then things went uphill from there.
And also, to be quite honest, there's another point that I'm not sure at that time. As I said, I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I was talking about my suicidal thoughts, to name it, quite openly with my family, not with my daughter, but with my mother, for instance. And I was very, very much like just in that loop. I don't go anywhere anymore. I don't see the point. That's it. I'm finished. I don't want anything else. I don't want to try anything else. I just want to end this. All there's no point of return. No, I'm done. Like I've done my bookkeeping. No, and comes out like negative. I let go. This life not for me. And my mum, she listened to me very, very long time. She just listened and gave feedback, but never any like advice or like contradictory stuff. And there she stopped me and said, "Okay, listen, I've listened to you now, and I've taken all your sort of pessimism and all your negativity and known this has been the disease and all, but now I have to say something." I said, "It would be hard for the rest of us, to see you going deliberately, but we could cope somehow. But if there's one person in your life that cannot cope and that you can't put this burden on, it is your daughter. She needs you. And she won't have the strength and the necessary anchorage anywhere else if you're leaving her behind." And my mum has some justification to talk about this because her dad committed suicide when she was 13.
Oh.
She knew from that perspective how it feels. And this was the second, I think, big trigger point that reached some little tiny rest of my personality that was still somewhere in the back of my head and not covered by this huge fog of depression. Yeah. So responsibility can drag you and can get you very, very far down, but it can also be an anchor to keep going.
Wow. And now you're here and you have gained your smile back, which is wonderful. That's great.
I could show you pictures. I one of the posts actually, I was as courageous as using one of my diary pictures of psychiatry times in one of my LinkedIn posts. Many people that know me have been completely flashed by them. Said, this is incredible. You're such a, if we know you like in good times, if knowing you smiling and then seeing this, where's the link? It doesn't work together.
Yeah. And I think you said such an important thing, that it is like a disease. It's something, I mean, we catch a cold, we break our arm, and no one would wonder how this can happen. We probably ask ourselves, why does this happen to me? But with a brain disease, it can be the same. It kind of just hits you, and then you have to cope with it, and you have to heal from it. Wow. So, I mean, you're not a psychotherapist and not a psychiatrist, but you are someone who lived through such a hard story and such an important path. Is there anything that you would like to be your message to others, that you would like to share others, maybe those who are still on the darker side of the depression?
Yes. Feeling fed up of therapy, keep going is important, because the point in time, it's what I encountered, that it changes something, comes belated or comes, it's not I go to see the therapist every week and in 2 months or end of this year I'm like, whoa, I'm like reinvented, I'm a new person, I'm reprogrammed. it takes time for the soul and the spirit to digest, and it takes time to apply new ways, new patterns of seeing and doing things. And the biggest task for me was, and that's something that I would love to give to other people as a sort of message or advice or whatever you want to call it. The key is acceptance. No, I was long time caught in the idea, I want to rewrite my biography. I want to reprogram what it has made of myself. I want to be a different person. I have so much to work upon. It's a long time I really saw the workload, and I was eager to work and work and work and analyze with my head. And I did flip charts and the brainstorming, what's called mind maps. Therapists said, effective ones actually, could you just stop writing essays about all that's going on and do your mind maps? Could you just go out and walk? Or could you just cook? Could you just have a good time? Could you just live your life? And also from him I got the thought or the idea, don't run away from your emotions. Accept them and see that they're coming like a wave, and have the courage to face them and stand up there. Let them rush over you or through you or whatever. There will be a peak that will be intense, but very, very soon after, if you don't hold on to it, or if you don't push away with violence, you'll feel that it goes down from the peak very soon after. Wow. And you're at ease again very quickly. The problems arise when you start to hold on to emotions, or you want to suppress them, push them away. And this also is acceptance. So acceptance of I am who I am, or the acceptance of the past, of everything that has made me being this person that I am today, and acceptance of emotions that come and go, and let them come and go. And I think this, looking back at all the work I've done over many years to not re-enter into a depression, if I should sum this up in one word, it would be acceptance as a key.
That is really, really deep. Wow. Yeah, this was such an intense conversation, such an intense story to listen to. So what are you doing actively now to make sure that you feel good, that you keep feeling well? Is there anything in particular that you want to share with us?
Use my senses as much as I can.
Ah, wow, that's interesting.
Smell and taste and feel things, touch things, listen, music, an awful lot of music, singing, dancing, not so much producing music myself, even though this has long time and been a big part in my life, has gone in the background a bit, but also very, very good. And whenever I feel I'm going into my head too much, I call myself back and say, okay, so and even if it's something really, really small, what can I do to feel my body and feel I'm not just my mental activity. I am here. Feel alive.
Wow. Wow. This is so profound. Thank you so much. So I could go on forever with you, and I hope, well, I know we will stay in touch because
oh, I hope so, Chrissy. I hope so.
Yeah, I definitely want to learn more about you and see where we can have a shared experience in life. So thank you so much, Maxi. I will definitely, if that's okay with you, I will link your LinkedIn account so that
go ahead, yes.
People can reach out and people can read your exciting stories. And I cannot thank you enough for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And all the best, of course, and say hi to your 2 kids.
I will. Thanks.
Thank you for joining us for this meaningful conversation with Maxi Fetch. We hope her story has resonated with you. If you or someone you know is facing mental health challenges, please remember that you're not alone. Help is available. Visit www.findahelpline.com to find free confidential support in your area. Remember, reaching out is a sign of strength. If you're struggling, don't hesitate to seek help. And don't hesitate to help others if you think they're struggling. Thank you.
This was Lead Well. Now, what is the one thing that you're taking away from this episode? Please share in the comments below and do share the podcast with your friends and family, but only if you like it.